Hi, Sagittarius. Welcome to your April 2020 Astro Update. It's Raina here. So I was compiling the list of transits for Sag, and being a Sun in Sag myself, I was getting excited because in the first half of the month, there's so many supportive transits, going either in fire or air signs, which are compatible with us. So as the month begins, the sun is in Aries, and for Sag, that's the fifth house. And this is a trine, we're both fire signs. And the fifth house is awesome because this is a house that Leo rules in the universal chart. So that Leo, which is another fire sign too, and it's all about pleasure, fun, so things that you do for fun, hobbies, but love is the fifth house, and creativity, children, and the business that you own. So if you have been feeling kind of in the doldrums, and certainly as I record this, we are in the month of March, or I should say I am in the month of March, and it's like, wow. I usually like the month of March. I find it very important. I feel like March and April have been important in terms of like things happening for me, whether it's internally or externally. But boy, perhaps because the sun is in Pisces as I record this, it just is much, it feels much heavier. And so I think that we're going to lighten up. Okay, so Pisces is our fourth house, and this fifth house energy is all about just enjoyment, enjoyment of life. So the sun is certainly an overall positive influence, and it's in that house, the fifth house, so you can expect like love if that's something for you. And even if you're already coupled, it can just help your relationship. And speaking of which, on the 3rd, Venus goes into Gemini, and that is the opposite sign of Sag, and the opposite house is the 7th house of committed partnerships. So very good for committed partners. And even with the sun in the 5th house at the same time, having fun together, kind of rediscovering what you are so attracted to in the other person, just in general, how you enjoy each other's company. And so that certainly can be very good for connecting that way. It's also good for business partnerships, or even like if you have clients, perhaps you will start to see more financial gain, because Venus can be that financial gain from your one-on-one client, whatever. I'm trying to think. It's something / client relationship. Owner / client. Oh, whatever. You know what I'm saying. On the 7th, there's a full moon at 18 degrees of Libra, and even this is a friendly angle. It's a sextile. Just like, well, I was going to say just like Gemini, but that's actually an opposition, which is supposed to be quite, challenging in general. But when we're talking about relationships, there is a definite attraction between opposite signs. They're incompatible elements. So that's going to be good for you. But in any case, this full moon is taking place in the 3rd house. I'm sorry, I put 3rd, but actually I should have said 11th house. And so perhaps there is some kind of a goal that you had that you have fulfilled, or that you will fulfill in the month of April. So a dream that you've had comes to fulfillment. This can be connected to friendships or group associations as well. Perhaps you have decided to part ways with a group or even a friend that you really have come to understand is not quite who you thought they were. Something like that can happen as well. On the 11th, Mercury goes into Aries, so we've got more of that good juju trine energy flowing from the 5th house. Great for writers, playwrights, people who are creative with their words. It's also good for, like, the 5th house can be the business that you own, and Mercury definitely can get the word out. So doing anything along those lines to kind of publicize things. You may be talking to a love interest if you're single and looking. And that can be good too, because you're not just like getting hot and heavy with them, you're getting to know them, talking to them. On the 19th, the sun goes into Taurus. This becomes more practical, down to brass tacks. So you've had your fun, had your fun doing whatever, and now you're ready to kind of like get organized, get busy. And it's possible, I wouldn't be surprised if, some people were, it's possible that you took a break intentionally, like a vacation or something, or a staycation, if you decided to just hang out at home, or even if you had kind of like, in between situations, you decided to make the best of it if you were in between jobs or what have you, and then you're waiting, maybe you had a start date for a new job, and it was towards the end of April, and you got busy. And this is going to make you more practical, more serious about health matters, and just organized or wanting to be organized. On the 22nd, the sun goes in on the 19th. On the 22nd, we have a new moon at 3 degrees of Taurus happening on Earth Day, which is, I think, the United States, I don't even think Canada has Earth Day, but it's not like a national holiday. I mean, it's a national holiday, but it's not like an official holiday. So this is apropos being an earth sign, Taurus, in your 6th house. So new beginnings, maybe changing your routine to reflect certain things that are going on. Maybe you're launching a business, and in this time frame, or even in March. Definitely, of course, there are going to be astrologers who say, oh no, there are too many, planets that are in their shadow period, because May should be a doozy with several planets going retrograde. I think it's, let's see. I think it's like Venus, Saturn, and Jupiter, if I'm not mistaken. I think those 3 are the ones. And in addition to that, the North Node is changing into Gemini. So there you go. That's our opposite sign. So a lot happening in May, but some of these are so powerful, the shadow period, that it'll be in April when that happens. But something, I don't know about you, but I'm not going to like be that caught up in it, because you would have very few times to launch things if you did that. I don't want to spread fear-based thinking to people. I want to encourage people. Obviously, you would have to have something that you wanted to launch in the first place. So this may be something you may be, tweaking your schedule or doing something health-wise around the 22nd with the new moon. And then on the 25th, we have Pluto retrograding at 25 degrees of Capricorn in the 2nd house of earned income, and also the house of self-esteem. So this is very interesting, because Pluto is a very powerful planet. People get scared of Pluto in a money house. And I don't blame people for feeling that way. But it's also associated with wealth, if I'm not mistaken. and the second house is the money that you earn. And this will be in conjunction with Jupiter, our ruler, so this retrograde. So I would say especially the law of attraction, big time, because Pluto is regenerating us when it comes to our attitudes towards money and resources. When I say it's transforming us in this area, and I feel like the transformation for those people who have been taught that money doesn't grow on trees is going to be that we are so much more powerful than we know. And for me, it's been such an amazing journey. I mean, I can trace it so much almost to the beginning of the transit, maybe about a year later. But no, I would say no from the beginning, because in the United States, this was definitely connected. This Pluto into Capricorn transit was right when we had an economic crash. And everyone, I don't care if you have Pluto transiting your second house or not, like Sagittarius do, but everybody has been forced to look at their attitudes towards money. Some people have lost a lot, maybe everything, and had to rebuild. That can be the extreme example. But for most of us, it's, while it may be challenging, it might be a roller coaster. I certainly can attest to that. But this sense of like knowing what is true about the material nature and our reaction, our response to it. And when when you're able to kind of be flexible, not be kind of dogmatic about the law of attraction, but use your intuition to decide what is right for you, you really play with the concepts of what money represents. Like, what does it define within you? But also, what are the limitations? Are there any limitations? What is your job in all of this? So when Pluto goes retrograde, it's going to be more of an inside job. It's going to be more your inner power, because I'm thinking of people who have Pluto in their second house in their natal chart. They may be obsessed with wealth and, with having wealth. And why do people get obsessed with wealth? Well, they're, either they don't feel, they always feel like they're lacking, or they are using that as a way to feel good about themselves, like proof that they're really okay, that they're really successful, that they're, that they're powerful. And it's true that we need money, so we can't just completely blow it off. But this transit, when Pluto goes retrograde, I mean, this is an outer planet, but it is personal to us, being in our second house, that we look at how we feel powerful, empowered, self-empowered. That has nothing to do with the outer world and material objects. And in doing so, it can actually help us to, I feel, attract more material wealth, because we're respecting money. We're not like pissing it away, thinking that we are impressing people when really we're just trying to prop up a very weak ego and things like that. So anyway, for what that's worth. And then on the 27th, Mercury goes into Taurus, so the mind becomes more analytical, becomes more practical, and becomes more interested in the business of organizing one's life. The Mercury rules the sixth house and can deal with diet and those kinds of issues as well. Okay, Sag, that's what I have for you. I hope that you are looking forward to this time period as much as I am. And if you would like a personal reading The link is below. Take care. Bye.